everyone, it's Sonia from Blackstone Designs, and today I'm teaching you how to make the Trinity Potholder. You will need a 100% worsted weight cotton. I am using I Love This cotton in the colorway Dove, and 100% cotton is highly recommended when you are making potholders and hot pads. In addition, you will need an H 5mm crochet hook, a 1.5 to 2 inch ring, scissors, and a yarn needle. For this pattern, you will need a starting chain of an even number. I did a chain 28, and that yields about a 7.5 inch potholder, but you can add or remove beginning chains in multiples of 2 to get your desired size. Now this pattern uses the Trinity stitch. If you're unfamiliar with that stitch, I do have a full tutorial that I will link below, but I will give you a quick overview. Once you're done with your beginning chain, we will flip it over and work in the back bumps of the chain. And second chain from hook, you will put a single crochet. Then we will start with our single crochet 3 together. And we will put the first one in that same chain where we had the single crochet, yarn over, drop a loop, insert into the next unworked chain, yarn over, drop a loop, insert into the next unworked chain, yarn over, drop a loop. You have 4 loops. We will yarn over and pull through all 4. Then we will chain 1. Now for the next single crochet 3 together and all subsequent ones across the rest of the chain, we will start in the same space where the last single crochet 3 together ended, insert and drop a loop, into the next unworked chain, drop a loop, and then insert again into that next unworked chain and drop a loop. We have 4 again, so we will yarn over and draw through all 4, chain 1. Don't forget your chain 1's working across. So single crochet 3 together, and then chain 1. All right, now we're at the last single crochet 3 together. So we have 2 unworked chains left. We're going to insert our hook back into that same chain where that last single crochet 3 together ended, drop a loop, insert into the next unworked chain, yarn over, drop a loop, insert into the last chain, yarn over, drop a loop. We now have 4 on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. But at this point, we do not chain. Instead, we're going to single crochet back into that same last chain. Then chain 1 and turn. Now for row 2, we're going to single crochet in that first stitch. Then we are going to start a single crochet 3 together in that same space. So insert, drop a loop, insert into the next unworked stitch, drop a loop, insert into that chain 1, drop a loop. We have 4, yarn over, draw through all 4, chain 1. And we will work that same all the way across to the last single crochet 3 together. I'm sorry, I was trying to say we will work that same stitch pattern, the single crochet 3 together, chain 1, all the way across. Okay, and now we're at the last 2 unworked stitches. And this is where we will place our last single crochet 3 together. So starting back where the last stitch ended, insert and drop a loop, then into the first unworked stitch, and then the next unworked stitch. We'll get our loops, complete the single crochet 3 together. Now we're not going to chain 1. Instead, we're going to place a single crochet in that same space. And that's the end of row 2. We will be repeating row 2 until we have our desired length. So if this is going to be a 7.5 inch pot holder, we're going to want the finished length to be about 15 inches long. So say you wanted yours to be 8, then you would want a 16-inch strip. So we will go ahead, chain 1 turn, and repeat row 2. Okay, now once we have our strip complete, we want to cut the tail. Then we're going to go ahead and fasten off the end. Then we want to fold our strip in half like this. We want to line up the row ends the best we can. And I do like to use these little quilt clips to hold my project in place temporarily while I work to join things together. So once I have everything lined up, we want to line up our row ends and our stitches across the top. Then I'll place a clip and that will hold it so it doesn't shift while I'm working up the side edge. And then we'll place one right here in the middle and just hold that in place. We will insert our hook in the bottom right corner, making sure we get through both layers. And then we will get the yarn on our hook, and we will start single crocheting in the end of each row up the side, making sure we get the front piece and the back piece because we're attaching them together. And I like to bring this tail up so that I can work right over the top of it to weave it as I go. And then we can go ahead and just tuck the rest of the tail in and continue. And at this point, I can pull that clip out as well because I think things are pretty well lined up and we won't have to worry about shifting anymore. Now once I get all the way up the side, I like to just do a chain 1 right there because it helps to turn and kind of keep the angle at the top. Okay, now we're going to start working across the top. With the top, we're not going to actually work in every stitch across because it will stretch it out and it will end up being this funny shape. So instead, we're going to want to work across the chain 1 spaces only. So I do still put a couple of single crochets. So I put one in the top of the first stitch and the next, and then when we get to that first chain one space, I will join those together. Now, how do you join them together? We're inserting our hook from the front and making sure that we're in the right stitch, the matched up stitch, as we insert through the back. And this is how we're going to join both layers together. And then we will grab the yarn and pull it through both of those layers, then make a single crochet. From the first chain one space, we are then going to start skipping the stitches and only work in the chain one spaces, which means we need to draw a longer loop or make some looser single crochets. So insert in both of those chain one spaces, make sure the loop is a little longer, and this just keeps it nice and loose while still joining the layers. So it won't cinch it, nor will it expand it. Again, this is what that looks like when we insert from the front and we grab the yarn to pull it through both layers. And then after that last chain one space, I will put one in the last two stitches as well. And then we will chain one, and these are our tails from the panels. We can just tuck those inside. And then we will line up that last edge, all the row ends, and you can grab your clip and reclip these if you need to. I don't feel that I need to do it that way because I think everything is pretty well secured from working across the side and across the top. But certainly you can use that if you would like the guide. And then working on the side edges, we do want to make sure that we're hitting the end of every row. I should also add that when I join my ends together, I actually break into the middle of the last stitch or the stitch on the end. So I don't just grab the one loop. I actually go down through the middle, so there's two loops. And then when you join the next stitch, go down through the middle, so you're getting another two loops. So now you'll have like, you know, the four. And then I pull through the center and form my single crochet. Then when you have these, they almost look like the little knots here from the single crochet on the end or the back side of a single crochet. I will insert down through the middle of that as well, which also gives like the two loops on the hook. And then I do the same thing through the back one. And I find that this helps close up any gaps. If you just do like the 1 and 1 here, see how it like gives us this big open hole? So I don't like the look of that. So I go right down through the middle of my stitches. Okay, now we're at the last stitch here in the corner. So we will just go ahead and clip that yarn, fasten off the tail, and then you can just pull that right into the inside of the pot holder. You can weave this for an extra secure finish, but I just pull it in. Okay, and then we have the finished pot holder. Now this can be used as a hot pad or treve. But if you would like it to be a hanging pot holder, we need to add our ring. So first we are going to want to get a length of yarn and put it into our needle. So what I do is I find these two little corner stitches. This is the first single crochet to go across the top, and this is that chain 1 space that we made. So I count starting with the chain 1 space and then back down 2. This will be my side edge that I sew to the ring. And then I start with this single crochet here, 1, 2, 3, and that will be the top edge that I will sew to the ring. So we're just going to sew this little corner right on. So I first insert from the back into that 3rd stitch down, and then I cross over to the 2nd stitch and I bring it around, and then I come back into that 3rd one so it completes the loop. Then I'll cross over to the 2nd and come back to that 3rd. Now from here you can cross all the way over to the 1st and then come back up into the 2nd and then into the 1st, and then along the back you will insert from the 1st. Now this is just the way I do it, whatever is easiest for you to sew the ring to the corner of the pot holder. Now what I'm doing is I'm going around the ring and coming up under it, like behind it, to insert from back to front into these corner stitches, just to give it the extra security. And then when you're done with that, from the back side, you're going to want to come down in through the pot holder and you'll start weaving the tail. Now these two tails, these two end tails, will need to be weaved and fastened off properly so that this doesn't come apart on you. So you're just going to weave in and out of the tails, breaking through the strands, and then you'll turn back and kind of do the same thing, but you'll be working through the tail itself as well. Okay, and then clip it off. Then you'll take your other tail, make that a little shorter. Then you will thread the needle and weave it in. You could start, just make sure you're just coming through, breaking through the strands. And then turn back through its own tail and through the other stitches. Then clip it off. And there you have your Trinity pot holders. I hope you had fun with this project. I know I can't wait to use these. They're so pretty. So happy crocheting!